I'm Peter Wells. Peter Wells works for the Interislander, an area we've all probably experienced, but never thought about it from an energy efficiency point of view.
Happy members?
Very. Over to you, Peter.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Peter Wells. I work for Interislander, which is part of KiwiRail. I've been asked to talk widely about KiwiRail, but mostly my specialisation is ships, so forgive me for that. Just a little bit about what KiwiRail is. We move 18 million tonnes of freight every year. That avoids 1.4 million tonnes, 1.4 million truck trips. There's about 900 freight trains every week that are moving. About 183 locos that do that work. And the ferries, 3 ferries, 4,300 crossings a year. So we're pretty major fuel users across, we work up and down the length of the country. So I'm not here to talk about modal shift, moving freight from trucks onto rail or ships. I'm more here to talk about opportunities related to influencing KiwiRail as a large energy user and moving to lower carbon opportunities. So there's some numbers up there. In the ship world, 38 million litres of fuel every year. We've only got one fuel location, that's mobile owned in Kaipapa here in Wellington. And what the driver is for shipping is it's not part of the Kyoto Agreement, we're not CO2 led, we're actually led by sulphur regulations and emissions. And in 2020, we have to change fuel type to a 0.5% sulphur limit. Now, it's not actually law in New Zealand, but everywhere else in the world it is, and so therefore it's practically law. The rail network, 54 million litres of fuel and 30 gigawatt hours of electricity, that's mostly in the metro networks, and 19 fueling sites scattered around the country in depots with their own storage capacity owned by KiwiRail. And then also quite a large vehicle fleet amongst it, and that ranges from small cars up to large container hoists and things like that. Most of that is fueled through sort of commercial service station type things and fuel cards. So, what could we do, or what are the leaders for us?
You have another slide?
Yeah, it's all kind of rolls over. In the shipping world, if you want to offer us a fuel, I need to know it meets a standard. Ship engines are very tolerant of ugly fuel, because that's what they burn at the moment. But price-led. You know, if it's going to cost us more to run that way, there's very little opportunity for us to charge more. Consumers like the idea, but they won't pay for the idea when someone else is offering them a cheaper deal. So we need to be competitive pricing-wise. There needs to be a transition path from a 38 million litre supplier to a new supply obligation, and needs to be storage and logistics solutions. How are you going to get that fuel to us? How are you going to deliver it to the ships in a short turnaround? In the rail world, it's very similar. They've got a disparate fleet of locos. It needs to meet standard. That's ASTM spec for road diesel. Nothing surprising there. Needs to be competitively priced. Again, they're competing with road firms and coastal shipping, so they want to. They're price led again. Needs to be stable under storage. Can't degrade. And then the vehicles. There's a chance with electric and hybrid opportunities. I would say that's the best opportunity in the vehicle fleet, and they will be looking at that actively, but the rest of it will be whatever happens in the commercial fuel retail world. Now, maybe a couple of specifics in terms of ships. Biofuels is one opportunity we've been talking about with several people, including Peter Brands over there. So the issues with that are, yes, you can burn it in the ships. It's how do you actually mix it into the fuel mix and get it at a commercially competitive price. So. And it needs to remain stable. So in a ship's tank structure, it could be there for some number of months and needs to be stable in a mix, because you assume that you're going to blend it in slowly. And it gets processed on board the ship, so heated up to 80 degrees and injected at 100 and something degrees into the engine. So will it remain stable in that mix, in that environment? So that's the issues with the sort of biofuel line. Another option might be an alternative fuel to meet the sulphur, and that could be like a methanol solution. So readily available in New Zealand, but no supply infrastructure, and the standards for building and constructing the ship to it are still very early. There's some demonstration projects in Europe running very successfully, but there's no agreed standard yet for building these things. But then you've also got things like training for crews, because it's now a low flash point fuel, and and you've got supply logistics and refueling and how you're going to do all that. And last one, a more local one, is worldwide they're moving ships, or large cruise ships, where they've got emissions problems, to shore power supplies. So So there's an opportunity to plug the ship in when you get to port. It works well for ferries because they're in port, 3 or 4 times a day, so we plug them in. But how do you plug in and switch on 1.5 megawatt supply to a ship? Because roughly we could be in the 1 megawatt supply requirement to run a ship in port. How do you switch that on? But it also offers opportunities in terms of civil defence. Could we backfeed as another alternative? So those are the kind of spaces we're thinking about.
Great. Yeah, no, you reminded me of Auckland and when was it? We used the ships to keep Auckland alive, didn't we? Okay, over to you, Lyndon. Oh, a quick round of applause for Peter.